WORX 96.7 WORX. Good afternoon. Jeanette, McKenna. Joining me in the studio, we have some special guests with us. We've got Aaron Wood with Dark Phoenix Productions, and we also have James Treakle. Are you the writer-director?
That's correct. I wrote, directed, and produced the film, as well as composing all the music and editing and doing visual effects. Yeah, I did a little bit of everything.
So you're kind of the James of all trades.
Apparently, yeah.
So this is a highly anticipated film, of course, Ezekiel's Landing. It's a sci-fi spectacular screening. The Ohio Theater is showing it at the end of this month. So let's go, whoever wants to jump in. Tell us about the story. What is the plot of Ezekiel's Landing?
Well, Ezekiel's Landing is an independent film that is a tribute to classic sci-fi movies like Close Encounters of the Third Kind and shows like The X-Files. It's basically all the sci-fi that I grew up watching kind of thrown together in one big pot. And you have these two characters that are diametrically opposed. You have a skeptic who has this dark supernatural secret. He was actually abducted by aliens and he's in denial about it. And meanwhile, you have this UFO hunter who's actually not experienced anything real, but has written a memoir because she's trying to drum up publicity for herself so that maybe she can, because of her connections, find somebody who has experienced something for real. And so these two characters encounter each other, and they end up going on this very dangerous adventure together in which they run afoul of this small town's UFO cult and all kinds of other spoilers from there on. But it's a lot of fun. There is pretty much every sci-fi trope you can imagine in this movie. It's just a blast. It was a blast to make, and I think people are going to love it.
I think it's sci-fi is making a comeback. I think these generations are more in depth with the sci-fi, and of course you have like the zombie movies, which are a lot different, but you have that different kind of taste, that different touch with the movies. So now you mentioned, James, with it being filmed, and of course all the fun stuff that goes along with it. It was all filmed in Indiana. Is that correct?
That's right. Mainly around Indianapolis, Noblesville. We shot
Waldron, Indiana.
Very
Noblesville.
Small town that we managed to get some really cool locations at, actually. It's just people volunteered, like, hey, you guys are making a movie? Sure, come shoot at my property. Like I have silos. They'll look great on film.
Which we also had some interesting instances with those silos as well.
We did. We had to replace a location at the last second, and then we turned around. It's like, actually, we're on this fantastic property, and there's these silos, and they have power available. Let's run over and do it. With independent film, you really have to improvise, and we improvised a lot on this to actually make it a lot better than I thought it was going to be. So
I think it added a lot.
It did
a lot.
I think it's great. Now, Aaron, I don't know if you want to throw in there, there's a huge difference between an independent film, not only with the funding that goes into it, but it's a lot different than your basic, your films that get shown nationally over all these theaters and everything. Now, this film, you guys did the premiere on April 24th. Tell us about the differences as far as it being an independent film and kind of what challenges came about with that.
I think it's mostly probably release, and it's also the control of release.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Trying to find the audience is very hard for independent film, for sure.
But you also gain a faster following and everything.
Oh, that's definitely true. I mean, people are passionate about independent film, not just making it, but following it as well. There's conventions that are dedicated to independent film. Indiana has lots of great film festivals. As a matter of fact, May 16th at the May Day Film Festival in Evansville, it will be screening as well.
Which will be exactly 2 weeks before the Madison screening.
Yep. So we're going to have 3 screenings within a month, so it's been a whirlwind for us.
I think that's great. And it's so important, of course, to get that publicity with the independent films. When I think of an independent film, one that automatically comes to my mind, Blair Witch Project. I think that was one of the most successful independent films. And of course, you think back and you're like, everyone kind of thinks it's a little bit cheesy or whatever. But it was one of the most successful independent films.
Oh, yeah. And it paved the way for everything we're doing here.
It's fuel to the fire for most independent filmmakers anyway.
For sure.
Something it's like, wow, they get a larger release, and why can't we do that?
Yeah, so it's a huge inspiration. And with how cheap they made their movie for shooting it on camcorders and everything, now with the technology that we have, we can make a better looking movie than, even just,
even for half the cost.
Oh, yeah. Just 5 years ago, you could not have made a movie that looks as good as Ezekiel's Landing for as cheap as it is.
Especially in the format in which we shot it in as well.
Yeah.
it's beyond.
It really looks like a real movie. It doesn't look like, well, they tried. It looks like a real movie. And there's some spectacular stuff in terms of visual effects too. I mean, the technology is just so accessible now. If you've got a will to do it, there's a way to do it.
Yeah, it's 85 minutes of pure beauty.
Yeah.
I think that's so important too, because a lot of movies, you can add those special effects. They can make such a difference on the final look of the movie, the final appeal. Now, talk a little bit about the production process, Aaron, if you want to jump in there with this. I know that your company is actually doing all the production work with it.
It's actually the presenting.
The presenting of it.
I was actually characterized as an independent for this project. I was actually the assistant camera. I assisted a cinematographer by the name of Bobby Daly. He's an incredible filmmaker. Him and I teamed up on a lot of stuff, as well as James and everything. There was a few shots that we had throughout the film where I kind of stepped in and kind of gave my own perception of how a scene should be set up.
Yeah,
I've got a lot of my stamp on it.
Oh yeah, Aaron and Bobby were they were just an invaluable team. They really helped shape the visuals for this, because when you don't really have a large camera crew and you just got two really intelligent guys working together, you can still create a very spectacular film-going experience.
Especially from inspiration. We still took inspiration from Steven Spielberg's films, as well as Quentin Tarantino. There's actually a few shots within the film that's going to surprise people big time when it comes to that. Plus the inspiration from Sam Mendes' Skyfall.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, a very popular movie there. I think it's nice that you guys can relate your work to other works, and of course, bring out the highlights in other people's work, because every film is different. Did you guys happen to know each other beforehand? Have you guys worked together in the past at all?
We actually met through mutual friends. It was I would say probably about a month or so before we started production.
Yeah,
because it was mostly over Skype and social media.
Yeah, if I recall, you sent me a Facebook message because Kate Chaplin, who produced the film for me through Karmic Courage Productions, so it was a co-production with my production company, Valiant Dead. You knew about Kate's work, and I seem to recall you said that you wanted to work with Kate, and you're like, hey, you're working on something. It sounds really cool. What can I do to help?
And it's also my first sci-fi film as well. Oh,
yeah. And like you have to jump at an opportunity to do something like that. It's just too much fun not to.
Now, Aaron, let me go back to you for just a second. When you mentioned it's your first sci-fi film, did you find that it's difficult to do sci-fi? What are some differences that you found?
Well, of course, with any indie production, any indie production, you have your challenges with it, but you learn to work with those challenges. I actually considered it more fun than the challenge.
That's good. So we can possibly see some more future stuff with sci-fi with you yourself.
Probably
working
very
into
Jonas.
That's always good. Now, talk about, I know you mentioned that it's going to be at the Evansville screening, the film festival.
Mayday Film Festival.
Mayday Film Festival. How many film festivals have you guys put the film in?
There's a few, and we just haven't heard back from a few of them because it kind of rolls in about a month before they start actually setting up their schedules. But we've submitted to actually quite a few now. We're suspecting, a matter of fact, we know for a fact, even though they haven't announced it yet, so I don't know how kosher this is to say, but it's going to be at the Gen Con Film Festival. That's at the Gen Con convention.
Indiana's largest.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so it's going to be screening there alongside a whole bunch of other really great independent films from Indiana. And you're going to have to be there.
Oh, that's great. That's exciting.
It fits right in with Gen Con anyway. Gaming, sci-fi.
The whole nerd community.
It's everything nerd.
Yeah.
I think it's important to get in on the Gen Con Film Festival just because that is the largest here in this area. So it's nice that you guys had the opportunity. I'm not sure if there's deadlines that go along with that, but you always want to make sure that you meet those, and it's great that you guys had that opportunity. So let's go ahead and jump into the actual screening. It's going to be screened at the Ohio Theater here in Madison, and it's going to be Friday, May 29th. So there's flyers all about. Do people have the option to get tickets ahead of time?
We'll probably have the box office open probably about an hour ahead of time. Of course, we'll have people setting up and everything prior to the event, red carpet event. We've already spoke to Chief Dan Thurston. They're at least probably going to have a couple officers there to have some crowd control. At least block. I want to give everybody forewarning, do not block off West Street. Wrap around the building. If you need to go into Shooters, get yourself a some shooter burgers or something if you're waiting in line too long. But yeah, there'll be a red carpet. It'll be kind of roped off with velvet ropes, so we won't be impeding on traffic too much for the shoppers in downtown. So
I think that's exciting. Lots of good stuff coming. Let's go ahead. We'll take a short break and we'll talk more about Ezekiel's Landing. Again, it's a sci-fi spectacular screening coming to the Ohio Theater on Friday, May 29th. The showing's at 6:30. So it's exciting. Of course, the film is finally going to be showed here in Madison on the 29th of this month. Let's talk a little bit about the cast. The cast and cast roles, different people that took part.
Well, we had largely actors who haven't done a whole lot in terms of like professional productions. So this was actually a huge learning experience for them for the scale of the project. We had a wonderful young woman for the lead, playing the character of Doctor. Now I'm just thinking about Doctor Who. Dr. Emma Wright, who's the hero of the movie. She's played by an actress named Nafatia St. Pierre, and she's absolutely fantastic with action, and she's gotten really great reviews for her performance already in the film. And she had never done a major role before, but she just instantly had chemistry with the other leads, and she brought a lot of
emotion to the role.
Yeah,
as well.
Definitely.
Just a lot of emotion.
And we had also rounding out like your main cast. We had a gentleman named Ransom Pugh, who is a fantastic actor. He is probably the most educated actor of the bunch, and he is just really, really sharp. He plays the skeptic Joel Hooper.
You also had the ladies crooning on set.
Yes. He appears shirtless quite a few times, just saying.
There is going to be a lot of male, I would say, shirtless nudity. Shirtless nudity. Not full frontal, but shirtless nudity.
Now, I'm going to stop you right there for just a second, because while we're talking about that, this film is not rated, but what would you say is the audience for it?
PG-13, I would say.
I would say R, just for some of the language. My suggested rating is for brief graphic violence and strong language. Yeah, it's nothing like gratuitous, but it's definitely it's a sci-fi movie. It gets a little bit genre-rific. So
now jump back into the characters. We talked about the two main characters meshed very well together. Are all the actors and actresses that take part, are they from Indiana as well, or are they from all over?
We had a couple that were from Kentucky, Kentucky, and Evansville, Indiana.
There's and Ed Haynes, who plays one of the characters,
Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, he comes from Columbus, Ohio. He heard about the project and was like, "This is very cool." Oh yeah, and I gotta mention, then we talked about cast and crew. The guy who was our stunt coordinator and plays one of the villains of the movie, one of the members of the UFO cult, his name is Derek Kunzman. I just need to give him a shout out because he is a parkour instructor.
And he is a beast.
He sent me a message early on in pre-production and said, "Hey, so I heard about this. I don't know what you guys need." I said, "Hey, if you can do parkour, I'll find a way to get you into this movie." I said, "That's just about the coolest thing I've ever heard."
He definitely ran himself into the risk of breaking his neck a couple times.
Yeah, he does.
We had a few takes where he was just
he was jumping off of buildings. Of rooftops in this. So
parkour is definitely probably the most challenging.
Silo to silo.
That's funny. So you had a great crew with this. A lot of hard work goes into this film, so it's got to be exciting. Tell us, both of you, I don't know who wants to go first, but your favorite part of the movie, your personal favorite, whether it was the favorite part of working on it or the finished product.
I mean, I enjoyed the entire process. As I said at the beginning of this, I directed and I wrote and I produced and I did composition for the film and I edited. I had a hand in almost everything because an independent film, it's a homebrew process. You've got to learn pretty much everything there is to know about filmmaking in order to get this made. And I scored the entire film on GarageBand on an iPad. And that, as far as making the film, I didn't enjoy that more than directing it, but it was definitely an interesting experience.
But this film score that you're going to hear in the film is just it's going to blow the top. It's going to blow the roof off of the building. From what I've heard already from the premiere that we had in Indianapolis, it shook the walls. It's that good.
Oh, I think that's awesome. Now, James, I'm going to back up just a little bit. You mentioned, too, about the reviews. And I know before we went on, we were talking a little bit about some of the reviews that you guys have had so far. Tell us about those.
Well, the best pull quote that we've had, which is just a fantastic pull quote that I've been putting on everything, is they called it the ultimate homebrew sci-fi epic. And, yeah, and homebrew is the way to describe it because of how much, everybody had to pull together to get this thing made, make something out of nothing when you're making it for this cheap. But, it really is a sci-fi epic. And I think my favorite part of actually shooting the movie was the climax of the movie and watching it as well now, just because we built a practical... Oh, gosh, how big is it? Like 5 foot across UFO model.
Oh, wow.
So it's an old school
huge.
method.
It's actually made out of old motherboards.
Yeah,
we had 2 guys that spent a couple months in a garage and everything, in our parents' garage building this thing for us. And
we didn't think we could do it.
We didn't think it was actually coming.
Yeah.
And then our cinematographer Bobby Daly actually came to us. He's like, "Oh, we've got a couple large boxes of old motherboards. What do you guys want to do with it? We're going to build a spaceship."
Yeah.
That's funny.
It looks pretty incredible on screen. It looks as good as anything that you would have seen in Close Encounters, but better because now we have digital, so it's a little more
Spielberg's going to be a little jealous of this. We're probably going to get phone calls.
That's funny. I think it's great that you guys are able to utilize those tools and, do it to the best of your ability. Aaron, what would you say is your favorite part of the film?
I would say there's a scene where we're actually filming up in Waldron, Indiana, which we also have some interesting stuff that was going on within actually, I would say probably the 2 weeks we're filming up in that area, which, of course, we dealt with a small fire down the road. I want to say small fire.
It was a large fire.
Yes.
Which we had nothing to do with.
We did not film it. So if that fire marshal up in that area is going to be coming looking for us, we do not have video evidence. But my favorite scene, which it's also something which people are it's going to take them back. I'm going to go ahead and say it. It's going to take them back to Tarantino. And you're really going to get that feel for it. And it's just... I'm going to say it's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
That's exciting. And, of course, we don't want to give away too many details to it. So let's go ahead and talk about, I know you guys did mention that there's going to be merchandise available. It is going to be shown in Blu-ray, which gives it the best look of the show.
Best picture and audio.
Best picture and audio quality. Now, when you go to the filming, when you go to the screening at the Madison Theater, the Ohio theaters, you guys have merchandise available. The DVD will be available for purchase, and also merchandise with Karmic
Courage Productions.
Karmic Courage Productions. I was trying to think.
Yeah.
So, what kind of stuff is available as far as the merchandise tables?
Yeah, Kate Chaplin, who co-produced the film with me when she was an absolute godsend.
She fed us a lot of food.
Yeah, and she was a huge mentor to me because this was my first feature film directing experience, and I came to her with the project, and she's like, I've done sci-fi before, this sounds right up my alley. She's got her previous short films, which include, she has a tribute to Star Wars called Leia Not Leia,
which is actually endorsed by George Lucas.
And that played film festivals around the state and around the country and won awards. She wrote and produced that, and that's going to be available for purchase there, along with other short films which she's directed. She directed a feature film Ingenue, which played film festivals all around.
It actually caught a little bit of a national attention as well on that scale. So.
And so we'll be able to purchase her previous films and Ezekiel's Landing, and
there will also be some nonprofits there and everything to promote some of their services and other things as well.
Yeah.
I've already spoke to Big Brothers Big Sisters, which they've actually invited their littles, at least above the age of 16, to be there. But I've talked to them as well, and hopefully we get some other nonprofits that at least want to bring in their information and show awareness for it as well.
Oh, absolutely. And that's so important too. Of course, Big Brothers Big Sisters is a huge part in our community, so it's nice to get them supporting each other. You guys all support each other in this. And
I also have a couple of bins set up at the screening as well for a local child, which they're getting ready to have an event coming up in September at the Riverboat Inn, which on my social media page at Dark Phoenix Productions Digital LLC at Facebook, we've actually gone gray, or Gray Matters. The girl is also related to me as well. She's in the hospital right now at Cincinnati Children's Hospital. She's had a reoccurring brain tumor.
Oh, wow.
So they're actually going to be sending her out to the East Coast to have the tumor removed.
Oh, wow. So she has to go see specialists and do it. It's probably a little bit more expensive, of course, yes. But that's nice. So it's kind of raising awareness and raising. Is it raising funds for that as well? Or?
We'll have something there as sort of a donation and everything. It's an at-will. We'll have a couple bins set up there for her and at least send that to the Casey McAdams Fund. So.
Okay, well, that's great. I'm excited for you guys. Of course, it's Friday, May 29th at 6:30 p.m. Tickets are just $6. You can get those at the door. I know, Aaron, you said that the doors open at 6 p.m. Was that right? 6 p.m.?
The doors will be officially open at 6:30, but we'll allow the box office to actually be open where if people want to purchase their tickets and not really have to wait too much through the line, of course, we'll give you a marking and everything. That way we know that you can just go on into the doors if you purchase your tickets already.
Okay, so make sure you make plans for Friday, May 29th at 6 p.m., 6:30. Again, you can purchase those at the Ohio Theater here in Madison. It's going to be a great screening that you don't want to miss, Ezekiel's Landing. And one more question for you guys. Is there any, I know we mentioned about the film festivals, have you guys entered it, or is there plans to enter it nationally into film festivals?
Yeah, we've been looking at a few national film festivals. It's just a matter of... I guess timing, because I would like to travel to those, and that's a little bit expensive, so we're taking it one step at a time, but that's definitely in the cards.
We're also looking into VOD markets and everything as well, Netflix and a few others, maybe Vudu or something down the road, or other services, which I'm also forging at least a distribution connection and all that stuff with a few... I would say probably out of country, I would say that, distribution companies. So hopefully we'll be hearing some answers from them soon for distribution, at least on a national and international scale. So.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm excited for you guys. I think it's going to be a great showing. I do appreciate you guys coming in here. Anything else that we want to touch on, or what would you encourage people to come out and see? If you had one thing to tell them to get them to come see the movie, what would you say?
Come support indie film.
Absolutely. I mean, indie film needs your support in Indiana. There's so many talented filmmakers here. Come out and see a fantastic movie made by people in your state.
All righty. Anything else to add, Aaron? Just come out and see it.
Just come out and see it.
Come out and see it. Again, it's May 29th. I'll be sure to share this flyer on our Facebook page, WORX WXGO Radio. And then from there, you can find all the information. It is also added to our community calendar. It's been posted up there. And it's at the end of this month. So make sure you keep May 29th blocked out at 6 in the evening. And that way you can see the screening. I do appreciate you guys coming in here and joining me this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Again, that's James Treakle, the writer-director, and Aaron Wood with Dark Phoenix Productions, LLC. We appreciate them coming in here. Make sure you find this information on our community calendar, again, at WORX WXGO Radio.
I made up the abduction story so that I wouldn't have to face the truth about my father.
You're not alone, Joel. You don't have to lie to yourself.
Dr. Emma Wright. Possible proof of alien life. Proof.
Something happened to us. Something real. Something you can't rationally deny.
The signal is a distress call, lethal to abductees who have received an implant.
What are we supposed to do?
We are going to save everybody. Everybody received an implant and who's been driven crazy by that signal.
This isn't a wound. It's a gift. It must be accepted.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, no shit. We were abducted by aliens, man.
Why did you lie, Doctor?
Please, Doctor, you have to save us. While there's still time.
Natasha, let me save you! Let me save you!
Dad? Let's go see the universe. Together.